difficult. You're going to fail. You're going to slip up a lot of times. You're going to admit defeat. You're going to scroll at yourself many times and over. But just know if you keep trying and apply these tactics, eventually, one day you'll say no to it and you'll never look back ever again. Hey guys, it's Davey here, and it's currently day 174. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend, and I do hope you guys had done your self reflection because Sunday, that is what it is all about. As you can see, I look a bit rough today, and that is because I have been thinking pretty damn hard. So, I just want to go in today with talking about my detox, my dopamine detox journey, right? Eliminating the habit of scrolling on YouTube and binge eating. And this week would be challenging because I try to overcome my habits of mindlessly scrolling and YouTube binges. And every time that I say I will stop, I don't. I would come back from the gym feeling tired, but also grateful for accomplishing one of my goals. But when I come face to face with the comfort of my home, I give in. And for a long time, I blame my willpower. For a long time, I would say things like I'm lazy, I'm incompetent, and I never will achieve anything great if I keep acting like this, with no control over my mind. But even though they were the truth, having these traits will not allow me to accomplish my goals and create a successful life for me. But what also wasn't true is that I'm lazy, right? What also isn't true is I'm lazy, I'm incompetent, and I won't achieve my goal because I will achieve my goals. The change in my circumstance and how I choose to react influenced how I was responding to myself. And that played a huge role in how I actually viewed myself as a person. Because I stopped being thoughtful. I didn't saw the bigger picture. I stopped asking questions to why I began to gravitate towards the distractions more easily than just doing the work itself. And having this week of just dopamine detox, having this week to just think, to just be clear of my intention, really allow me to find that when you fall into the loop of distractions, subconsciously, that is, you stay there until you become conscious of what you're doing. However, when I began to realize what I was doing consciously, I didn't stop. I didn't start by thinking about what I will miss out if I continue watching YouTube, but rather I would think that I had already lost today and scrolled on what I should be doing instead. However, when I shifted my response, when I started to be conscious, when I stayed conscious before slipping into bad habits, I would think about everything I would lose instead of thinking that I had already lost today. You see, the difference on how you respond will dictate what will happen next. And I don't think anybody wants to do nothing every day and put on fat. I just think that's not reasonable for anyone. But it's rather hard to overcome this vicious cycle of self sabotage when you already have admitted defeat. I thought quitting would be hard for me because I was like most people, sitting there waiting on the moment that I will be ready. However, you will be waiting for a long time if ever that time will come to your lap. But what I had learned about waiting to overcome anything is it becomes harder over time. A slip up on your habit becomes a habit itself. A bad habit becomes a part of your identity when you admit defeat enough. And in no time, you would have to compensate over the feeling of being defeated every single time because it feels shitty admitting defeat every single time. It feels shitty waking up in a new day thinking that you will overcome your habits just to mindlessly slip into them again and admit defeat. Over time, you're going to have to compensate. And what do people do to compensate is to convince themselves that this is normal. Is to think that everyone lives like you and it should be totally acceptable in this world. And the worst thing about that is our world is willing to accept anything, is willing to accept any BS in this time of age. And quite frankly, they may not even complain if you're willing to sit on your couch and scroll your fingers off, right? And they may even encourage it. So, and I'm only fortunate enough, guys, to not wait that long to see myself convincing myself that watching YouTube, watching TV, binge eating, doing bad things as a normal standard, as a status quo. Although there was a time where I had accepted so much defeat that I started to believe that this is what everyone did. And I tried to convince myself that this is what everyone did. Until my friends call me, talking about how my life is, talking about how their life is, and how they're moving on. And I feel so shitty doing nothing and trying to sit here and try to fool myself that this is normal when it isn't normal. And that's the thing, guys. When you accept defeat so many times over, even though if you're ambitious at heart, even though you are someone different and you feel like you can accomplish more, when you accept defeat enough times, you're going to start to think that this is normal because you no longer want to put up trying to fight this. You don't want to put up the fight anymore. And when that happens, you throw in the white flag. You throw in the white flag and give up on all your dreams. So let's not come to that point. Let's not come to the point where you have to say like, oh, screw this. I had enough to overcome my habits and I obviously it's not working. So let me just give up and try to normalize this. And that is not the right way to go. What is the right way is to just be more intentional with your day. Be more conscious, have the time off to yourself. And it isn't the fact that you don't want to change. It isn't the fact that you are incompetent to change. Is the way you're trying to change is wrong. The way you're trying to change is ineffective. You're not being more intentional. You're not being more conscious. You're attacking the issue at hand subconsciously. You're going into your bad routine subconsciously, unaware. And when you are aware in the situation, you start to blame yourself first. You start to admit defeat already. And it is very hard to overcome that fact when you already had admitted defeat. It is much easier to just do what you're doing. It's much easier to just eat more food when you already had a 5 plates of KFC or whatever. Right? It is so much easier to just keep scrolling when you had already scrolled for most of the day. And the thing is, we will wait for that burst of motivation the next day. We will think that tomorrow will be different. But when I thought like that too, I would wake up tomorrow feeling ready to overcome my habits just to find myself mindlessly falling back into my routine, my bad habits. So by waiting, you're not essentially going to change anything if your behaviors and strategies have not changed since yesterday. You're just waiting for the inevitable to happen again. You're just waiting to admit defeat again. You're just waiting for someone to punch you in the face at the same spot again. You know that punch is coming, and yet you've done nothing to prevent it. You've done nothing to avoid it. You're just sitting there like a dog just waiting to get hit. So, what I had learned in this week of just having time to myself to think, and of course, this have not been easy whatsoever. There were times where I wanted to watch TV. Being a household with my sister and my mom, they watch TV constantly because that's normalized for them. And it quite honestly is normalized for everyone. I have no judgment against that. But trying to quit a habit when the mere habit is playing in the background is difficult. So I had to allow some willpower to come in. But I would say willpower alone wasn't enough to prevent me from falling back into the bad habit. What was enough though was being conscious and being intentional with what will happen if I do slip back in. And the thing is, many of us don't have that in our life. So we have to find that. We have to find a lifestyle. We have to find a reason so we can be intentional and just say no to certain bad habits. Because without one, we will have to sit it out. We have to go cold turkey. And I have used that tactic throughout the week. So instead of watching YouTube when the time comes, I will try to take naps. I'll try to avoid the issue at hand. But that is still ineffective as a way because over time, your avoidance will catch up to you. You have to ignore it in the first place. You have to see it as it never existed in the first place because avoidance will never really last. Like I could try and sleep my bad habits off, but then sleeping, then napping will turn into a bad habit that's stopping me from reaching my goals also. So the ultimate way to overcome my habit, my bad habit I found out this week is to really just stay conscious before going back into the vicious cycle you had created for yourself. And it's going to be difficult. You're going to fail. You're going to slip up a lot of times. You're going to admit defeat. You're going to scroll at yourself many times and over. But just know if you keep trying and apply these tactics, eventually, one day you'll say no to it and you'll never look back ever again. But this is all I gotta say for today. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend, and I do hope you guys had learned something from this. But if not, like always, I'll be here for you guys tomorrow. But until then, I'll see you guys then. Good night.